10B, approve design and adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with J&B Construction, Inc. for the San Mateo Avenue Water and Sewer Replacement Project in the amount of $4,613,870 and approve a construction contingency of $692,081. Execute a contract for construction management and inspection services with the Hanna Group in an amount not to exceed $299,325. Approve capital improvement budget amendment and appropriate $1,357,688 from the wastewater capital fund. Appropriate $551,937 from the water capital fund, and approve a total budget in the amount of $5,705,276.
Thank you. Good evening again. The topic in front of you in regards to the infrastructure improvements along San Mateo Avenue from Angus to El Camino. That's the project limits there. Earlier this year's January City Council meeting, staff presented information on the project and provided an opportunity for council and members of the community to discuss measures to minimize construction disruption and alleviate inconveniences to businesses prior to advertising the project for bid. Since then, staff conducted another community meeting with the businesses and residents within the surrounding downtown area and moved forward with completing the design. Staff is here tonight to recommend an award for both the construction and construction management and inspection contracts. San Mateo Avenue is the core of city's downtown that consists of businesses, office, restaurants, and some residential units. Revitalization of the downtown corridor has been the city's top priority, and completion of the transit corridor plan provides the path for new development and redevelopment projects, starting with the Plaza project that's currently under construction. The investment in the infrastructure replacement project will provide new water and sewer pipelines to not only meet existing demands, but will also have the capacities to support the needs of future developments within the city's downtown corridor. Both existing water and sewer infrastructure along San Mateo have aged and deteriorated, and this project will replace the utilities to provide a more reliable water service and prevent future sanitary sewer overflows. This project consists of installing approximately 1,800 feet of new 24-inch pipeline, which is being upgraded from an existing 6-inch pipeline to provide more capacity, and 2,200 feet of 8-inch water pipeline along San Mateo Avenue between the project limits, El Camino and Angus. To select the contractor, the project was advertised in the San Mateo County newspaper twice, on May 23rd and May 30th. And a notice to visitors was also sent to about 72 contractors and posted on the city's website, as well as provided to the construction plan rooms. 3 bids were received and opened on June 22nd, ranging from $4.6 million to $4.7 million. The 2 lowest bidders were about $6,000 apart, and the bids were competitive. The lowest bid was received from J&B Construction in the amount of $4,613,870, which was within about 5% of the engineer's estimate. Staff is recommending to award the project to J&B Construction, as the company has completed numerous projects involving sewer and water main replacements for public agencies in the cities of San Francisco, San Jose, South San Francisco, Burlingame, and Santa Clara. J&B Construction has also worked on many projects in San Bruno, including the Crestmore Neighborhood Reconstruction, Phase 3, College Pump Station number 4, and the recently completed Genevieve Avenue Sewer Main Replacement Project. Based on their experience and performance with other agencies in San Bruno, staff determined that J&B meets the qualifications to perform the work for the project as specified in the contract documents. Construction management inspection services by a consulting firm is also being recommended by staff to provide dedicated inspection and oversight to ensure effective and timely delivery of the project. The inspector will be on site full-time and will work closely with businesses and to address concerns related to traffic circulations and construction issues. One of the project goals is to ensure the impacts to the businesses and surrounding neighborhood is minimized, and having a dedicated full-time inspector will help. And the city received 5 proposals, one from Anchor CM, Swinnerton Management and Consulting, 4Leaf, Tanner Pacific, and the Hanna Group. All the proposals were reviewed for completeness, team qualifications, and relevant experience. And staff is recommending the Hanna Group to provide construction management and inspection services in the amount of approximately $300,000, $299,325. The Hanna Group has completed construction management and inspection for projects in the cities of San Mateo, town of Hillsborough, and Burlingame, and is considered to have the experience and qualifications to perform the work. Specifically, the work in Burlingame includes providing the full construction management inspection services on the Burlingame Avenue utility and streetscape project, which require coordination with businesses, residents, and utility agencies. The references provided by the firm were contacted, and all were provided positive feedback. They stated that the firm is highly knowledgeable and has good customer service and is responsive and works well together as a team. In regards to community outreach, staff has performed extensive outreach on this project than any other pipeline replacement projects. Notification letters were sent to approximately 500 residents and property owners for community meetings. Staff also hand-delivered the letters to each and every address along San Mateo Avenue between El Camino and Huntington. During the community meeting on December 15th last year, only 2 people showed up. Due to low attendance, staff held another community meeting in February 16th. Unfortunately, no one showed up at the meeting. Staff will be holding another community meeting on August 15th next month and hope that people will attend to discuss their concerns. Since San Mateo Avenue has a single lane in each direction and due to the narrow width, temporary road closure will be required daily in order to construct both utilities. However, staff and our construction management team will work together with the contractor to minimize the impacts and disruption during construction. And some of the measures that are being considered to ensure least disruption to downtown includes closing San Mateo Avenue a segment at a time to allow for traffic to continue to circulate. So here's some of the slides that we'll be working together with the contractor. We're starting at the downstream end at Angus, where the sewer pipeline will have to be constructed, and we'll go from segment to segment, from Angus to Sylvan, from Sylvan to Genevan road closure, and Genevan to El Camino segment. So the detour signs will be posted to alert the drivers of the road closures. Parking will also be restricted only within each segment where the construction work will take place, so that residents or people who are coming to downtown can park in other locations. Sidewalks will remain open at all times during construction to allow downtown patrons to walk to businesses. Downtown parking lots will also remain open. Business open during construction signs will be posted on San Mateo Avenue, and will limit the construction work to within the 8 a.m. to the 5 p.m. And will be within that time frame. And at the end of each day, the roadway will be reopened and on-street parking will be unrestricted. Water and sewer services will not be disrupted during construction until the contractor performs the tying connections to the existing water main and water service. And businesses will be notified 48 hours in advance of any disruption to the water and sewer service. Staff also actively considered nighttime construction work, being that there are residents living in close proximity of the San Mateo Avenue. The construction noise will be disruptive at night, and so we're considering performing the work during the daytime. In addition to the water and sewer infrastructure replacement work, the rapid rectangular flashing beacon will also be installed at the mid-block crossings to enhance pedestrian safety. And the cost for these beacons will be funded by the San Bruno Community Foundation as part of their efforts to improve safety in the community. The entire roadway within the project limits will also be repaved after the construction of the facilities. As for the fiscal impact, the 2017-22 CIP program budget includes the appropriations for both the water, sewer main, and as well as the pedestrian warning systems from the Community Foundation. And however, additional appropriation of $1.357 and $688 from the wastewater capital fund for the sewer main improvement is necessary, as well as $551,937 from the water capital fund for the water main replacement program is needed for this project. So should this project be awarded, staff anticipates starting the construction in September 2017 and taking approximately 5 months to complete. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jimmy?
Yeah, through the chair.
Ken?
Jimmy, if you can refresh my memory, everything north of Angus has been improved right, because of with the grade separation, or is that a future project?
The sewer line north of Angus, from Angus to Keynes, was constructed about a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm concerned that once construction starts, that those all of a sudden, you're going to get residents and business owners going to think, what's going on? So I think we need to make a real concerted effort to try and get them to that next meeting. And when were those past meetings held? What time of day?
In the evening, 6 p.m.
See, that's been it's been knowledge for many years now that if you want to talk to the business owners, you have to do it early in the morning. And so, because by the afternoon, they're dead tired and they go. So I'm going to propose that we, do a early morning continental breakfast for these business owners, possibly at the BAEC, the Entrepreneur Center. We can stand outside and we can show them things. I'm also concerned that we have to give better, other than, saying roads closed ahead and right turn only, we have to give them signage of parking, where to park. And I also would like to make a suggestion if we can reach out to Artichoke Joe's and get some supplemental parking arrangement with them. And you can have a continental breakfast subcommittee if you want. I'll have the mayor, give me a morning call. This is a big project. It's a needed project, and this is something that I think will be appreciated, in the future when it's done. And we're no strangers to excavation on that. We've had a BART and a grade separation. So this is just another thing that we'll look forward to its completion and improvement.
Anything else? Marty?
Through-
I'm sorry, Irene.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead.
Jimmy, I know you talked about the improvements for pedestrian safety at mid-block. Were you saying at Genevieve and San Mateo Avenue? Is that mid-block?
No, it was proposed to, during the study, for the San Mateo Avenue pedestrian study, it was recommended by the traffic engineers to remove one of the crosswalks in Genevieve and put the flashing beacon. But with that, currently, after research in regards to the stop warrants for that intersection, the city will go to TSPC with the stop sign for that intersection and then install one mid-block crossing flashing beacons at the mid-block. There's so many mid-block crossings. I can't.
Some other mid-block,
Another
right?
mid-block crossing, yes.
Okay, thank you. Also, once it's all paved, I know we're going to put the crosswalk markings back.
Correct.
Can we make sure that they are very visible? I know certain places we have the zebra striping. So since it's the opportunity to do that, can we have TSP, yeah, thank you, review what could be improvements for that area?
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you.
Marty?
Thank you. First of all, I do appreciate it that the bids are nicely bunched. Being that it's almost over a $4.5 million project and it's separated by 6,000. I mean, that's showing the competitiveness out there. So that's definitely a good thing. This is going to be a very difficult project, as everybody here is acknowledging. I think the Vice Mayor's comments and getting additional input and making sure that that input is in other languages, that it's in Spanish, Chinese, as well as, of course, English. We have a wide variety of business owners there. Since we've already worked with JMB, I'm hoping that the turnaround time to get that contract signed, since we were familiar with their bids and with their insurances and stuff, the sooner the better, because I'm concerned as we're going to be doing sewer bypasses, and that the inflow water from the rain that gets into our sewers, it may potentially overflow. So the sooner the better. The amount of hours, typically right now in construction, I mean, we work until it almost gets dark because we try to utilize as much time. And so I think we should really consider expanding the work hours so that we minimize the duration of the project, and also that when you work, most crews that I'm working with now, it's almost always 10 hours. So having an 8 to 9 hour work shift with the lunch, I think it's just going to make the project go longer. I'm sure they're going to ask to work weekends. Everybody wants to work weekends in construction. That's the way you catch up. Being that it's an old downtown, that we're going to find all kinds of unknowns with crossings and laterals and sewers and a bunch of freaky things over there. So I did submit a number of questions to staff, and I did get some answers about the number of potholes that you've already done and requiring the contractor to stay ahead and provide the potholing information back to the engineering staff. For those sewer laterals that are, I'm sure they're probably 100 years old, right? It's an old downtown. So the property owner is responsible to pay for the replacement of the sewer lateral, like the residents are, and like we've done on other projects. Is that true, or how is that working with the sewer lateral replacement?
San Mateo Avenue is a little bit unique. The sewer is actually underneath the sidewalk. So with that, the city is extending because the sewer line, the new sewer line is being installed in the middle of the road. So we are extending the pipeline tours to connect back to their existing sewer.
But the sewers come from both sides, so it's going to be in the middle of the street, but typically the property owner is responsible to replace the sewer lateral.
Correct.
So in this case, they are or they're not. The city paying for this, we're putting a new sewer lateral in for them, right?
The new sewer lateral will go from the middle of the road to
Right.
the front of the building, because that's where the existing sewer lateral ends, because of the sewer main is underneath the sidewalk.
Right, and so the city's paying for the new?
That's correct.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the reason for that is because we're moving the sewer line. So the condition, we're creating the condition where the length of the lateral needs to be extended and therefore it needs to be replaced.
Okay. And that was consistent when we replaced the sewer lateral recently, that?
On Genevieve, no. Because most of the time, the sewer is replaced in the same location. From manhole to manhole, existing manhole to manhole, and in this case, the existing sewer line is underneath the sidewalk, and the new sewer line is being constructed in the middle of the road.
Right, so the one business is on one side of the street, where currently is, that sewer lateral is coming all the way across to where it is
Correct.
now underneath the sidewalk. And the one that's close to the building, it's just dropping in. I just wanted to make sure, I just thought that all property owners were responsible, and it doesn't seem exactly right with me, but I can buy that argument a little bit, and that's fine. What I am concerned about is the construction management and inspection services part of this project. I did a little bit of the math on it. So at almost $300,000 contract at $140 an hour for the inspector, is the inspector an engineer? Is it one person that's going to be doing the whole project? Is it two people?
No, it will be one inspector and one construction manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're both going to be there full-time?
No, not, the inspector will be
The
there
inspector will be
full-time.
there
Yes,
full-time?
correct.
Okay, so I got the hourly rate for the inspector. Did we get I didn't see the
It's $190.
$190 for that
Yes.
one? Okay. That makes a little more sense because I was basing it on that one time frame. So yeah, if we can find a way to start a little earlier and getting more involvement, it's going to be extremely disruptive. And if we could maybe look at extending the hours, I mean, that will reduce the amount of time that they'll actually be working there. And those are my questions and suggestions.
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean, if I could just piggyback onto that, that's another reason why we really need to talk to these, talk to the public. Because if we want to propose extended hours, weekend hours, we should let them know about that, and at least let them know that this is going to make your headache, a lot shorter in time frame. If we can give them a time frame saying, if we extend the hours, approximately 2 months or so is taken off of the, the project timeline. They may go for that. They may accept that, and we just work towards that and, work with them. We just can't, just do it, and explain to them that it's going to be less. I think we should, partner with the, with the public on this.
Rico, anything?
I'm sorry. I didn't add this. So currently, we're saying we're going to go ahead and shut down the road, and then you're going to go ahead and dig in the trench, and then the amount of time that it's going to take to just reclose, to reopen the road, and then moving all the plates, and whereas it's going to be amazingly difficult in that small area, and trying to get all that work to come in and out in 8 hours, your efficiency there is just going to get shot. And so you're going to want to be able to get your sand and are we using slurry here?
No.
Sand and base rock, and have it stockpiled in that area. So like the first thing in the morning, you just go ahead and start doing your work. And so opening that road back up is really going to kill the efficiency. And it's going to be really terrible. It really is. It's all that big equipment, trying to get into that one area, and then opening things up in 8 hours, and then not working Saturdays. And I like to pull the Band-Aid, really quick, and instead of like pulling it really slowly. And if we have to let our businesses know, let's get it done, Mayor. Get it done.
Rico?
I won't repeat what everyone has said. I think a lot of great ideas. Has staff considered extending the hours, as has been suggested, or are we going to be on the normal timeline? Or has that even come as a possible option or solution?
No, we haven't thought about that, no.
Okay, so also with the Vice Mayor's comment, I think it has been known that really the businesses open up 9, 10, depending on what they are, and I think you do need to do the early mornings. I do think, yes, the subcommittee for the Continental Breakfast, that's good, Ken, you could do that. But I think also we really need to find a way, if there is, maybe asking the chamber or whatever we need to do in order to bring folks forward. Because my biggest concern is that a project that must be done, that will be done, really needs to be communicated. We may get to a point where we really have to put some detailed flyer out that goes out to the to the commercial property, and obviously residents too, because they'll be affected in the various languages. I think what's going to happen is everybody's busy today, but when construction starts tomorrow, a lot of questions will be raised. So a contact number and that person that's on site, and where are they located, how do they get in touch with them? I think that instant communication is going to be critical. So any suggestions that you've heard here would be, I think, great if we could take that as an option, an opportunity.
Okay.
Is there any way to break it into 3 pieces? I mean, I realize that you're going from El Camino to the next major street, but you have that thoroughfare right next to the San Bruno Entrepreneurial Center. That's a thoroughfare onto San Mateo Avenue. I mean, that would be a good place to break it into 2, but you also might be able to break it into 3 because there's an alleyway right next to the confection store that's by the sandwich shop. I mean, then maybe you could shorten the span in which the businesses were impacted by a considerable amount and still allow people to move in and around that street somewhat. I don't know if that adds additional cost, but it might be less of a problem for the businesses.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, currently, these traffic rerouting plans are very generic because we haven't had a chance to sit down with the contractor to review the actual, work, proposal. So we'll have a better understanding of what the actual traffic, rerouting plans are once we have a kickoff, a pre-construction meeting with the contractor.
Good. I think a lot of good points were brought up here this evening. If you start to phase this thing, it's going to be 3 phases of grief instead of one big phase of grief. You don't want to get into that. And working, Saturdays, Sundays, I think they may need a break down there. It's fine, but then you're into overtime and then you're into change order and then you're into all different kinds of things. So I think you got to fine tune your whole program, as you said. All of the things aren't dotted and crossed yet, but it's got to be done. We got to get it done. We have to bite the bullet. We did the same thing with the BART, unfortunately, and it was a lot of grief for a while. Now it's fine. You don't even know it's there. And we did the same thing with the grade separation. There was a lot of grief down there too, but they got it done. So would anyone like to introduce a resolution for adoption?
Through the chair.
Irene?
Before I do that, I just want to clarify something. In the staff report, it says closure to segments of San Mateo Avenue roadway would likely be from Angus Avenue to Sylvan, Sylvan to Genevin, and Genevin to El Camino. So it's already part of how they're looking at closing it. They're not intending to close the whole thing all at one time. So it is already intended to phase in, and I know Jimmy will take all our comments and incorporate them into the working plan. So with that, I will introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ibarra.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.